Hello and welcome to another episode of the Pig City Podcast. I am one of your hosts, Zachary Avi, and along beside me, the man that I guess he thinks it's still summertime because the guns are out today. Introduce yourself, my co-host.
Yeah, it's me, Alexander Walker. And boy, finally, episode 3 of the Division Breakdown series. And we actually get to talk about legit football teams that are fun to talk about.
Yes,
Let's be
sir.
honest.
Yes, sir.
We finally get to actually think about division, like who we think's going to win. It ain't just like, it would take a miracle if somebody pulls something type thing. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, I'll start with a little quick good news, bad news, then how we're doing. First couple minutes of our episode are always let us know how you're feeling. So you, the listener, let us know how you're feeling. Comment, tell us what's going on in your life, how excited you are for football. We're only a few weeks away. We're so close to opening night where the birds will be taken off, but don't get me started on that. Anyways, good news is if you are interested in more of our actual football talks and how the teams are going to play on the field, you're going to enjoy these breakdowns more. If you're here strictly for just fantasy, where should I draft this guy? This probably isn't the episodes for you because that's really all we could focus on in the South because those teams stink. But these teams in both West divisions, we think have potential chance of both West divisions having maybe multiple playoff teams and definitely not teams picking at the very top of the draft as they have done in the South divisions. So with that being said, Alexander, how you feeling?
Feeling great, dude. I'm sorry that you're a little under the weather, that you're having to wear like a hoodie and everything, but I'm glad you could join us and make an effort to be here.
It's about to be fall, man. I'm just prepared and ready. Yeah, no, I feel fine. Finger is almost all the way healed. So I know last week I was mentioning how it was burnt pretty badly. It actually healed pretty quickly. And yeah, I think it's a injury I'm not going to concern myself with, whether it's typing or picking my lineup or playing or whatever else I may be needing it for. However, that might be the biggest factor for the division day we get into, and that is the AFC West. And as we get into this division, I want y'all to know a little behind the scenes here. Sometimes we don't prep at all with each other as far as our opinions. This got heated, so please stay tuned. Here we go.
Alrighty. And in case you are joining us with this one, didn't watch the others, what are you doing? Pause it, go back, watch the other ones.
Watch this one first, then go back. But anyways.
But either way, we always start from where they finished last year, and we start at the bottom, we work our way to the top. Simple as that.
Yep.
And that means we'll be discussing the Las Vegas Raiders, who finished 4-13 last year. We'll be discussing the Denver Broncos, who finished 10-7. We'll be discussing the Los Angeles Chargers, who finished 11-6, and the Kansas City Chiefs, who finished 15-2. Burgang.
Sorry for you audio listeners, we had to show a little, Super Bowl reminder. But yeah,
speaking of Super Bowl, when you said your finger got burnt, I thought it was maybe still healing from those victory cigars from the Super Bowl celebration and everything.
I'm not commenting on what I remember or not from the Super Bowl. So this Raiders team, I'll break it down here in a second. It's the only team in this division that gives me any kind of South vibes as far as how terrible they were last year and not really a super bright future. But the biggest move they did make, as we all know, they take Ashton Jeanty early in the draft. Again, my head hurts thinking about, our buddy Teddy that really picked Boise State, and I swear he knew Ashton Jeanty before Boise State even knew how good he was. And yeah, that dude was an absolute freak. Of course, a lot of people were very mad still with the whole Heisman thing, but regardless, he's a stud running back. As a rookie, he is already be projected as a top 5 pick across all platforms for running backs and going in the first round amongst all positions. I'll cover the fantasy stuff really quickly. The receiving core is Jacoby Myers, Jack Betch, Dante Thornton, and Trey Tucker. Not a whole lot of substance there. I do like Jacoby Myers. Go Pack. But Geno Smith heads over from Seattle. Again, reunited with Pete Carroll. And Raheem Mostert is the backup for Jeanty. Brock Bowers is a top-tier tight end. Actually, the most updated rankings I have, he's actually going as the first tight end overall after an incredible rookie season where he went at the end of the tight end ones. Before we even get into who you would want to have on this roster, I think everybody probably will be happy with Jeanty. We'll discuss if we're worried at all about the rookie parts Alexander, is there anything you like more about this team with the changes they've made than just a season ago? Obviously, 4 wins is pathetic, and it's been moved up to 7.5 this year, so they think they could win 4 more games. That line seems high to me initially, but tell me why maybe there's some positives I might be missing from this new look Raiders team.
I mean, first off, some positives would be improved quarterback play. Another positive would be an improved backfield. Like, yes, the receivers didn't get better, but they got Brock Bowers. We saw what Jacoby Myers can do. Is he a wide receiver one? No. He's be a great wide receiver two
Yep.
on most teams. That's their Achilles heel. But we saw how they used Brock Bowers last year. You add in Genty, and like, yes, Mostert's getting up there. He was not really anything last year, but the year before was elite. I mean, if you can just get him to meet somewhere in the middle of that,
Yeah, I mean,
that would be amazing as like a second running back coming in.
Yeah, I mean, he led the league in touchdowns, don't forget, which is still insane.
So, I mean, I definitely see where that 7.5 line. And then you add in the fact when I was looking at their schedules, and you were as well, they play the freaking AFC South.
That is true.
So, as we talked about how bad that is, I mean, if they beat the whole AFC South, that's 4 wins right there. That's all they got to do. I mean, do I think they could beat the whole AFC South? No.
Yeah, so I guess it comes down to, and is we evaluate this team, like kind of not just going through all 4 of those teams in that division, but like, what do you look at this team as? Because it is a little confusing. I do think that they decided, it sounds weird to say like have a better future and you add Geno Smith and Pete Carroll. It kind of sounds the opposite of as far as age, but these are definitely like bridge guys as far as changing the culture. And Geno is decently stable. I mean, he's completely overperformed what people thought from 5-6 years ago of where he is now. But I'm a little confused of they're going to, Pete Carroll, he loves to run the ball and he has a guy, he can absolutely run the ball. I think from a fantasy perspective, Ashton Genty's, you don't have to worry about the touches at all. He's going to be the focal point of this offense alongside Brock Bowers in the passing game. And like we said, Jacoby as the 1A, 1B as far as him and Brock catching passes reception-wise. Like Brock really gets thrown to that much. I don't have a problem with Genty being a top 5 running back, even though he's a rookie. I don't have those fears. I know sometimes people are fearful of a rookie. But I don't know that it translates to like touchdowns for this team and points for this team and winning games. So while I think the offense will be a little better, and they have Max Crosby, who has an incredible motor, never stops. He's actually insane with some of the moves he's done. I've heard Chris Long and several other former defensive end pass rushers just praise like this guy's different. He's not good enough for this defense to be like anything meaningful. I mean, they're going to have a bottom 5 defense more than likely. I just still am low on this team overall, and I honestly came into this prep wanting to be higher on them than I am. So I'm a little disappointed. If you are going to invest and get Genty, at least you get to have fun watching him. But I'm going to hope I'm not facing Genty and try to like not watch the Raiders until I'm told to, because that is just not. It just, the same way you're saying, the last thing I'll say, the same way you're saying that they face the AFC South, they also face the AFC West, the division they're in, for 6 of the games on their schedule, in which they will be favored in none of. And I don't know if they maybe can win one. Obviously, division games, you don't know. But, I mean, realistically, that's 6 losses right there. And we'll get to this. Spoiler alert. I think the other 3 teams in this division are very good. This 7.5, I'm taking the under, and I feel good about it. That's my Raiders recap. Sorry. The next 3 teams I'm going to be more excited about. But I can't do it. I can't believe in this team.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with your take on them to an extent. I do think I'm higher on the Raiders than you, but not that much higher. Like the line at 7.5, to me, I feel like it's a great line because I do lean the under, but I do see them winning 6 to 7 games.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's an improvement from last year. I just think they need another receiver to make something happen and be productive. And then their defense has to get better outside of just a key player here and there.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I was going to say. Like, honestly, I mean, they didn't have a bad draft after Genty. They actually, filled in some gaps, but I think it's far more about their defense than even the offense. Like, when you're facing, I mean, we're going to talk about these three teams, and we're going to talk about the next two kind of together, but all three of these teams are very possible top 10 defenses in the entire league. So, like, you're not going to be able to outscore your division. You're just like, they're unfortunately, if they were in a different division, maybe I'd feel differently, but it's just too tough, too rugged, and good for Genty. He's going to be featured like Josh Jacobs was a few years back. Yeah. So, I mean, I guess we're kind of the same. It's just you want to sound more positive, it sounds like. But all right. So, are you taking the under official pick there?
Yeah, under.
Yeah, I'm taking the under on the Las Vegas Raiders for sure. Now, moving on to the next team, the Denver Broncos. Bo Nix, who I will say, I won't go as far as to say Bo Lever, but I liked Bo Nix. I was fond of him. I thought he would be successful. I didn't think they would catch this magic in a bottle of having these kind of crazy situations where they come away with wins, and obviously their defense is good. This is going into last year. Their defense is elite. It's great. It's top tier. They go out in the draft, hook them, make their cornerbacks a 1-2 punch. They good luck trying to throw on either side of the field now. They have whoever they end up having at safety is going to be fine. They're going to rush the passer pretty well. They're going to tackle well. Their defense is going to be absolutely elite. And Bo Nix still at the helm. Second year going in with Sean Payton. They have that relationship. They can scream at each other and be fine. It's really good when a young quarterback, he's not that young. We know he was in school for 17 years. But when you have that where you can fuss back and forth, receiving core, Cortland Sutton, Marvin Mims, Pat Bryant, Devon Vele, Troy Franklin, a bunch of guys. We'll get into those in a second. I'll ask you who stands out to you. They add R.J. Harvey in the backfield with J.K. Dobbins. They still have McLaughlin and Estime. I know I'm just reading names. Evan Ingram at tight end. I know you love that. You can talk about that here in a second. But I think this is an improved Broncos team that won 10 games last year. And that'll kind of transition into the next team we talk about, which was a Chargers team that won 11 games, who I also think is improved. But the conversation we were having, it led to a lot of animosity, and you can blend in with the Chargers. We can go back and forth or ask anything you want to say. Is it possible, because we haven't even discussed the Chiefs yet, that there's going to be three teams in this division again that all win 10-plus games? Because both of these teams win-loss is 10.5 for the Broncos and the Chargers. So if you think they're going to have sustained success back-to-back years and all three win 10-plus games again, I could get it because the rosters appeal that way, but that's just usually not how the NFL works. So I know I talked a lot there, Alexander, but looking at this Broncos team, who kind of jumps out at you is going to be the difference maker, playmaker to either elevate them or to make them fall down. And then you can kind of go ahead and lead into the Chargers of how you see them as similar and or different.
Yeah. I mean, you hit on it. Broncos defense, elite. Probably one of the better defenses, probably top 2 in my opinion.
Probably
so,
the best.
I mean, that's just great to have, like, on that side of the field. So then you flip to the other side. I mean, we saw what Bo Nix did last year. And yes, most quarterbacks tend to have a sophomore slump. But I'm here to tell you, I don't see Bo Nix having a sophomore slump. I think he only gets better. So that's a difference maker right there. The biggest, downside for him is, me personally, I don't feel like they helped him with extra receiving options. Yes, Cortland Sutton, when healthy, he's shown he can be amazing. Marvin Mims at times can show you he can blow the top off and make good plays. Pat Bryant, I don't know how I feel about him.
Yes. Pat Bryant. Draft Pat Bryant. 15th round, dude. I mean, his ADP is going to jump up before the draft because he's going to show out. Draft Pat Bryant. If your
That's
league
what I'm saying.
early,
I don't know about him, but
if your league drafts early, draft him. Sorry.
I don't know about him, but I mean, with this, they drafted him higher than his ADP for a reason. And to me, that shows how much Sean Payton believes in him. And with the receiving core they have, there's a very high chance by at least midway point of the season, he's their wide receiver 2. And then if Sutton gets hurt, he's elevated to wide receiver 1.
When he gets hurt.
Well, I don't want to see him get hurt. I like that dude.
That sounded worse than I meant it. I'm just saying when he gets hurt, he would be the wide receiver 2 de facto.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And then, I mean, to me, they addressed other areas which also needed improved. Their running backs last year were not good at all.
Yeah.
They went out and drafted R.J. Harvey, who I think is going to be amazing for them. They went out and brought in J.K. Dobbins, who I think will be amazing for them. I do not understand why the Chargers didn't make a better effort to bring him back. Maybe he didn't want to be back. I don't know. Don't know the full story there. But I think him, J.K. Dobbins on this team will be amazing with R.J. Harvey. I think that's a great backfield for them. And then they went out and got Evan Ingram, who I think, you know what? Put it on the board. Evan Ingram will have a career year this year.
Oh my gosh, second career year so far. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I'm high on Evan Ingram this year. I think he's going to fit in great with Bo Nix throwing the ball to him.
I mean, I do think
I love this Denver team. Give me the over on 10.5.
Okay, I do think that they go out and get Ingram because they like him being able to possession and catch the ball and even run after. The backfield. So as far as fantasy goes and real life as well, they do have McLaughlin and Estime who undoubtedly are going to be used at some point because they refused, even like back to with the Saints, he liked using Kamara and Ingram. So if you think it's going to be Harvey and Dobbins, I guess that could work. But one of them might be involved. I have no interest in either of those two. But you kind of are in on Harvey and Dobbins. Obviously, you don't want to draft both on the same team, but you're fine with both of them where they're going with Harvey in the late 5th round as, RB2, and then Dobbins basically is a RB 3.5, 4.
I think you literally touched on it perfectly with your Saints comparison. Alvin Kamara, Mark Ingram. Yes, Alvin Kamara was the one you wanted more than Mark Ingram. But we saw what Mark Ingram was still able to do with Alvin Kamara there. He was still a playable running back. He was not, maybe I'm not remembering right. I don't think he was putting up like David Montgomery with Gibbs still there type numbers.
Sometimes.
But I mean, it wasn't that far off. If
at least
J.K. Dobbins can get close to that and become their like touchdown guy inside the goal line, dude, I'm going to want all that, especially that late in J.K. Dobbins.
Okay, so we both believe strongly in Denver's defense. You believe in their offense a little more as a whole, especially the run game. I do like up front what they got. You don't really like their receivers that much overall. So does Bo Nix scare you from a fantasy aspect? I mean, he's going as a QB1. You get him about where you normally do, 6th, 7th round. He's actually going middle 7th right now.
I mean, if I'm not the first person to take a quarterback in my leagues and I'm waiting a little bit, yes, I will gladly take Bo Nix about middle of the board type thing.
So you're fine Bo Nix being your starting quarterback and
yes.
Okay. I think there's I'd have to look at the full list. I think there's other guys around him I'd rather have. I know last year he had some big touchdown games, but I think it shows that they're wanting to be a little more physical. Courtland Sutton has had some weird touchdown numbers in the past, but I don't know. Before I even answer over under, you clearly went over there. We kept comparing them to the Chargers. We mentioned the overlaps. You have J.K. Dobbins, who the Chargers said, we don't want you. We want Najee Harris instead, who, again, I have said for the past several years, Najee Harris is just underrated as far as like a solid running back. I'm not saying he's flashy or great or anything like that, but basically the exact same contract. I know you mentioned maybe there were some more incentives for Najee, but the same money for 1 year. They said, we want big, physical, and we want to pair that with the guy they drafted, Omari and Hampton. So which of these rushing attacks do you like? The Chargers with Hampton and Harris or the Broncos with Harvey and Dobbins? Because I think that kind of is what leads you to which team almost.
I mean, I watched Hampton a lot just because UNC football, I always tuned in and watched them. I'm a UNC at heart deep down. When it comes to football, I'm a Notre Dame fan first, but where I like UNC and all the other sports, still, they're my second team that I tune in, watch, and enjoy watching. Saying that, I think with the situation they're in, I like Harvey and Dobbins, especially when they're both going later.
But you also like Bo Nix over Herbert, even though both are going to be running the ball a lot. Okay,
yes,
so
I like Bo Nix over
prefer
Herbert.
Denver in every way. I like Denver's defense better. I like the Chargers running backs better. Hampton going near Harvey a little bit earlier right now, and Najee going a little before JK. So tight end wise, I don't want anything to do with Chargers tight ends. They just recycle them. Conklin is basically undrafted. I don't know who else they're going to even. Will Disley or something last year won me a game or two. But anyways, the Chargers defense, I think, is what is going to determine their season for me. And I know Harbaugh likes to be physical and run it and all that, but like their defense has got to be better whenever you're facing the Chiefs twice, the Broncos twice. And we looked at both of these teams' schedule because we were really fussing it. both of these teams we have with like easily getting up to 8 wins. Then it's a matter of the next, 6, 7 games, how many we pick them to win. I just think Lad McConkey going in the second round is a wide receiver 1. He's really, really good. I wouldn't want him to be my wide receiver 1 unless I really go heavy in another position. But as far as just on the football field, I really, really like Lad. But they're kind of the same with receivers as far as I don't know who else they're throwing to. They have Trey Harris, Quentin Johnston, Mike Williams is back somehow for 3 games probably. But I just don't know what, like, the Chargers literally are like, we just want to be a better version of ourselves from last year. We ran the ball well. Herbert took very good care of the ball when he needed to play plays. He did. He wants him to be sturdy. He wants him to be physical and tough. All these things. It's kind of like they were like, hey, this is what we were last year. We're just going to improve a little bit. It sounds like very obviously you think the Broncos have improved enough to not just be as good as the Chargers, but to overtake them and maybe even the team we haven't discussed yet. I'm more on the side of I think this Broncos versus Chargers is one of the closest division battles for me to predict preseason. And again, we know there's going to be teams that we think are going to be terrible right now that end up being good. That's the way football is. But I have to just be honest with what I see. I just trust the Chargers to be a little more stable. And I know that sounds crazy because I like the Broncos defense way more. And I think that's the only reason I lean to the Broncos. I just trust the Chargers offense to be more consistent. And even if that means consistently scoring 24 points, if that consistently means Lad being the leader, I don't know. Something about the Broncos just seems, honestly, maybe my pessimism showing. And I might have said this to you in a different way earlier. I think because they seem so fun and exciting, I'm scared to believe in them. So I'm going to lean Chargers, but I may blow your mind here. I'm going over on both of these teams for 10.5.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, you touched on it, though, when you were talking. As far as receivers go for both teams, to me, I like Lad the best.
Yeah.
But I think I like Denver's other receiving options better outside of the top ones.
Yeah.
But, I mean, with Lad, yes, he's going wide receiver 11 right now. If he somehow would, well, let's just say I have the 12th pick. I'd go wide receiver. Nah, I still wouldn't like that then.
Yeah.
Let's say I have the 8th pick. I get me a good receiver I trust there. Then when it comes back around, Lad's still there. I would like Lad as my wide receiver 2 in fantasy.
Yeah.
I don't trust him to be my wide receiver 1 though for the whole season. As much as I believe in him, I just think there's better guys out there that I would rather have as a wide receiver 1.
I agree, unless if I'm keeping in division, if I go Ashton Genty first pick, then I'm okay with that, something like that. But more than likely, Lad's going to be in that right on the turn of a wide receiver 1 or not. But he is electric. He's so good. I really, really like Pat Bryant, especially the more he gets slept on. That is a Denver receiver I'll be targeting, and I'm excited to see how he actually performs.
I need to look him up.
That is a fun thing in fantasy of these younger guys you believe in, you get a value, and then when you're watching the games, you see them start to get involved, and they get 3 or 4 reps, and you get excited. Yeah, I tried it with Marvin Mims a few years ago. It didn't really work. But there's nobody else in the Chargers receiving corps. I'm fine with Lad there, like you said, if he's my second receiver or if I have 2 studs somewhere else. But I'm fine with Hampton being my RB2. I'm fine with Najee being my RB3. I'm fine with Evan Ingram being my first tight end. Other than that, weirdly enough, as much as I really, really like these teams, because they're so spread out and we're not sure of how they're going to disperse the ball really, I'm not really that interested in basically any of the other players that they mentioned. And honestly, if I have either of these quarterbacks as my second quarterback, if it was a 2-quarterback league, or if I have, if I had both of them for some reason, I'd be okay. But I don't really like the idea of having to start one of these guys each week because I think these teams are so dedicated to we're getting the ball in the end zone. We don't care if our quarterback's the one that throws it or not. And I don't think either quarterbacks really care either. They just want to win too. I really love how these teams are made up.
Oh, yeah, for sure. But, I mean, you have always believed in Justin Herbert. I just don't believe in him as much as you. I don't think he's awful, but I just don't think he has that it that can put them over the next jump or hurdle they have to take.
Yeah, and my quarterback tiers video came out a couple weeks ago, and I kind of discussed with Bo Nix. I think he's one of those guys that can definitely jump up, but I'm just I've been bitten too many times by someone having a flashy first year and trusting in them. I'm not saying he's going to be bad, but I'm just not going to fully sell out for him. Now, some people could say that I still believe in Herbert for that reason. I do. I watch him play, and I think he's was okay last year, especially with a little bit of a reduced role, as far as numbers go. But I love Justin Herbert, and the tier I have him in is not the elite of the elite, but he's right there. And I think it one good season, and we'll want to talk about him that way. It's somehow like he gets disrespect for like not living up to hype that was based on his ability. I don't know. It's weird. He gets like more praise than he should, but more hate than he should, in my opinion. But maybe it's because I like him. So yeah, that's it. So Chargers 10.5. Are you going over or under?
Over.
So we both just went over on the Chargers and the Broncos, and now we get to the Kansas City Chiefs, who won 15 games last year.
Dude, it did not feel like they won 15 games. Like, that's just insane.
Yeah, like I know. I mean, honestly, if I had to guess before looking, I was like, yeah, I think 12 or 13 or. You know what's crazy about that 15 games? And I didn't bring this up with the Broncos, but let me throw a little shade now. Looking back at their schedule from last year, they beat one playoff team. Technically, they beat two because in week 18, this 15-win Chief team didn't even play. They sent Carson Wentz out there. We know how that ends. Okay? He's not used to playing at that point of the year. That's when he lets Nick Foles take over. But anyways.
I would argue, though, that I think the Broncos would have beat them then, even if they were to play their starters.
Well, if they didn't need to win, then sure. But the point is, they won 15 games in 15 out of 17. So they were 15 for a team that, and I'll say this, I think they got better. Tell me about their team.
I mean, I don't know if you saw, somehow Rashid Rice's suspension is just gone now. And I don't feel like it's being talked about enough. That's huge for them to just get him back like that. Like, what? Like, Rashid Rice is elite.
We are not a moral podcast. We are not a legal podcast. We're not a political podcast. We're just talking about how it affects the Chiefs on the football field.
Yeah. And then we saw what Xavier Worthy was starting to do last year. And then now he's in a situation where he gets to do what they drafted him to do, play alongside Rashid Rice. He's not out there trying to be the guy. And then you add Hollywood Brown, he's going to be back. Or, I mean, he came back last year, but you know what I mean? He's actually going to be fully healthy, you would assume, and has a longer amount of time in the offense. I mean, this is probably one of their better, I would say, receiving cores in a long time for them, just with top three to me. And then they got Pacheco still. And then Kareem Hunt's still there. And I didn't know this. They have Elijah Mitchell, who, I mean, we've seen what he can do in spurts when he's called upon. And then their tight end room, I mean, even if Kelsey's losing a step, we saw how last year they used their other tight ends effectively. Noah Gray, I think there's somebody else, I can't remember their name, but he would get touchdowns all the time as well. This team on offense, they're going to produce. It's what they do. They're just great on offense. And then their defense is Spags. He's going to have an elite defense. And they're going to do what they do. So do they win 15-2 again this year? I don't know. But as we already said, they play the AFC South. You think that scares them? Not one bit. They're expecting to go 4-0 against the AFC South. And then they get to play the Raiders. And they should have swept the Broncos last year, according to you. But, I mean, that was a close game. And we've talked about the Broncos closing it in. So this just division to me is going to be so entertaining to watch.
Yes, dude.
Like, this is football that I'm going to be looking forward to see.
Man, yes. The AFC West is good. The thing about the Chiefs for me is, like, and I agree with you, their offense is going to produce this year. They're a frustrating offense to think about from a fantasy perspective because you know what their goal is? Every game, every time they go out, to win. And last year, they knew they didn't have the firepower. They were smart enough to understand that, especially when Rice was out and the offense.
Pacheco got hurt.
Like, and I'm not really a Pacheco guy either. I don't want anything to do with their backfield and fantasy-wise, but that doesn't mean they're not going to run the ball. They're going to stay persistent with it. And Mahomes literally doesn't care if it's 21-19 and they run the ball and run the last 6 minutes of the clock out. He's winning. It's just on to the next one. That's a tally mark in the win column. I do think how badly they got embarrassed last year in the Super Bowl is going to motivate that offense. I don't know that their offensive line is going to be a whole lot better, but it's going to motivate their offense to say, hey, we lost the Super Bowl for us. Because honestly, if you look at it, the Chiefs' defense, they held Saquon Barkley in check. And once the Eagles started dominating and turning the ball over quickly and getting good field possession and scoring, they had to start reeling. Mahomes was throwing pick sixes to Cooper DeJean, Zach Ball's diving, picking the ball off. They got destroyed, and they have to carry the weight of, we let our team down. And when you're Patrick Mahomes, you wear the crown, heavy is the head. Because you know what? He feels like he lost that Super Bowl just as much as we feel like the Eagles won it. And that's just the way he's going to be. I just want to show respect to the Chiefs for finding ways to win. I know there's some questionable things that happen. I'm not saying that's never the case. I definitely don't think they're going to win 15 games again because I don't know that I'll pick any team to win 15 games ever in a season. That just is an absurd number. You know, the 12, 13, 14 is going to be the most nowadays. I just don't know what to do with this division because what's theirs, 11 and a half? So if you think they're going to win the division, obviously you got to go over that because we both picked over. So I'll let you throw it back to you, break that down and say where you're going over, and then we'll put our division predictions in. But man, you mentioned a second ago, this is the type of division breakdown that gets me so excited for football because every week that one of these teams are playing each other, even the Raiders somewhat, but anytime these three teams match up, that's so many times in a year you get to see just pure hatred and rivalry. And right now, the Chiefs kind of own them all. The Broncos and Chargers are trying to knock them off, but they've been trying to, what, 6, 7, is it 8 years now they've won in a row? 7, something like that. He's been to AFC Championship basically the past decade almost at this point, 7 in a row. I want to show respect to the Chiefs, but also say, like, I think the Broncos improved. I think the Chargers improved more. And I think the Chiefs just are kind of back to what they were supposed to have been last year and a little bit better. I don't think they improved as much as the other teams, but I guess my question to you is, did the other teams improve enough to catch them?
I mean, before I answer that, I just want to say, you said the Chiefs' offense lost it. Their defense technically lost it too. They did not have an answer for Jalen Hurts. They were too focused on Saquon Barkley. You can't just do that. You can't forget about Jalen Hurts, bro.
I'm not. I want to make something extremely clear. I could sit here and praise and talk about the Eagles and how they embarrassed the Chiefs. I'm just saying, in Mahomes' mind, he's thinking we lost this game because we couldn't score or get the ball past midfield at all. Where the previous Super Bowl, whenever our offense was scoring, they were scoring with us. So that's all I meant. No, I do not think that that's what happened in the Super Bowl. But in Mahomes' mind, hey, we have to do better. That's all I was saying.
Yeah.
And those psychopath elite winners, they come up with a way to have a chip on their shoulder in every possible way. I mean, I'm ready for their shirts week 1 to say nobody believes in us. I mean, that's crazy. But the Chiefs do start out tough. They start out the opening week. I can't remember exactly where it is, but they play somewhere far away against the Chargers, and then they play the Eagles the second week. So not a great start for them, but they're going to get tested early.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Just before I answer that as well, I don't know if I said this, in case I didn't. Fantasy-wise, only thing I'm really looking at from the Chiefs is probably one of those 3 receivers I mentioned, and it kind of depends on what's left on the board around them.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm big on Rashid Rice, but he's going wide receiver 16, so I'd have to kind of look. But if you told me I had to choose between Rashid Rice and Ladd, I'm going Rashid Rice.
Really?
That's just my personal opinion there.
Give me Ladd.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not a big character doesn't affect my fantasy teams, you know. We kind of embrace all types of characters out there on my fantasy teams.
I don't agree with that philosophy in general, but his is also a little different. I think he'll be very vital to this offense, and they're going to be very happy to have him. And again, maybe this will get me in trouble, but if you want to get in a ton of trouble and do horrible things and awful things and be a despicable human, don't worry. Andy Reid will find a spot for you. But regardless.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm so nervous, dude. I'm so nervous for this pick because I want to be so considerate of these teams, and I'm just in my head, but you go.
I actually did not look at their schedule, but for their over and under 11.5, I'm going to go the over. I'm not really got to think about it. We talked about this team being better than it was last year. Like, what's their schedule going to really do? We can't say, oh, they're playing number ones from other divisions. Like, what does that matter? They've done it multiple times now, and they still continue to produce great regular seasons like this with only a couple losses.
Let me tell you what's not going to happen. I'm not going to be the person to get on my podcast and say, this is the year that the Chiefs don't win 12 games. So, or I guess it'll be 13. Wait, is it 11 and a half or 12 and a half?
11 and a half.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like they're going to win 12 games. I think they might win 12 games. So let's do this division unless you have any other. As far as fantasy wise, Rice is very productive. There's nobody on their team I'm targeting. I definitely don't want anybody in their backfield. I don't really like the type of receivers they have because they're so like all or nothing, and you don't know what their offense is going to do, except for Rice, especially PPR. He's going to catch the ball a ton. We've already seen that in the short time he has played. Probably shouldn't be. But, sorry, I had to. At some point, I had to get a little in it. But regardless, I'm going with the over as well, of course. But I want us to do this predictions a little different once you're ready, if you have any final comments on any of these teams. So we think every single one of these teams improved.
Yes.
But you know what? Like, every one of these teams has like the Raiders now, if you believe Pete Carroll has they all have good leadership. Like, and their coach, and all except for maybe not the Raiders, we'll see, the front office. So like, that's why they're competitive. That's why they win, and they have good offensive lines. Like, and that's why I don't believe in the Raiders, because they don't have as good of a line, especially on defense. So yeah, wow, I love this division. Best division in football, right?
I don't know.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and say this: the AFC West is the best division in football, and it's not even really close. You got the Chargers, the Broncos, the Chiefs, okay? Basically, every year they're going to be representing the AFC Championship. Heck, they might start playing each other. Their division championship weekend will just then turn into the AFC Championship, like old school college football at this point. That's how good the AFC West is. I don't really mean that because AFC is good, but I do mean they're the best division in football.
Like, you think, basically, I feel like everybody was talking about the NFC North last year and their big three. Like, this big three, to me, I don't think they got the full love that those got. I get it. They had two that were, 13 win plus? But I feel like this could easily happen with this one, where that one I feel like has dropped a little.
Yeah, I agree that it's dropped a little, but nobody thought the Vikings were going to win that much. Their defense was generational. The Lions were blowing teams out almost every single week. And then the Packers were just, like, not that good.
They were just grinding.
Well, not really. They couldn't do a quarterback sneak, whine about it, complain about it, try to petition for a tush push. Started their season losing to the Eagles, ended their season losing to the Eagles, and then most recently they lost a vote against the Eagles. So that's how I feel about the Packers. But don't worry.
But
North week is next week.
Yeah. But you start us off. You give us your division predictions.
We're going to do it different.
Oh, we're going to do it different.
Fourth place, I have the Las Vegas Raiders. Your turn.
Fourth place, I have the Las Vegas Raiders.
All right, so we're 1 for 1. I'm curious if that's the only one we'll agree on. You go third place first.
Third place, I have the Los Angeles Chargers.
Okay. Third place, I have the Denver Broncos.
You're not a believer, bro. Not a believer.
No, I like Herbert more. That's the thing. I'm going to pick the team with the but I like their defense more. I hate this.
How much more do you like Herbert? Let's hear your number 2 then.
I think they're going to... That would spoil something. I'll tell you at the end. I got to go 2 next. You swear not to change yours no matter what I say?
Yeah, I swear.
All right, number 2. There comes a time in every great run where it comes to an end. Kings, legacies, dynasties even, always come to an end. And I'm here to tell you, in 2025, in the AFC West, that will not happen. Chargers will be second, and the Chiefs will be first place. Nobody's taking the Chiefs down.
I ain't gonna lie. I thought you were about to do it, bro.
I'm not doing it again. Until it happens, I'm not doing it. You can quote me on that.
I literally feel the same way. That's why I have the Broncos at 2. Now, if the end of the year the Broncos win the division, I would not be surprised. But I can't just, until it happens, I can't just go out there and just say it's going to happen. Because it's the Chiefs. They just keep proving time and time again that they're different. It's a different culture over there. Until you change your culture and get your culture like theirs, you can't do what they do.
I'll say this. I don't think they get enough respect for. Everyone talks about Andy Reid being a great coach and Spags being a great coordinator and whoever they've had multiple offensive coordinators in this run, but obviously Andy has a big hand in that. I don't think they get enough credit for. Yes, they're talented. Yes, they have one of, if not the best quarterbacks in the NFL and of all time, but their game planning is so specific and precise for the teams they play. They know exactly how to beat every matchup. That's why, and again, I'm genuinely not just saying this as an Eagles fan. Obviously, y'all can argue I am. That's why it's so insanely impressive. They not only lost a game, they've lost games before, that they were blown out, had no answer, destroyed. They've never had that happen.
I was about to say, when's the last time they've been blown out like that?
Well, technically, the last week of the season when they lost 38-0, it's the Broncos. But yeah, so yeah, that full circle there. So yeah, I genuinely think there's a great chance the Chargers and Broncos have the same record this year, and it goes to a tiebreak of some sort because I think they're going to split also. So every game against the Raiders and the Chiefs matters so much for them as well. So that's our AFC West breakdown.
I mean, just before we sign off, just to recap, my 2025 AFC West division predictions got in fourth place the Las Vegas Raiders. In third place, I have the Los Angeles Chargers. In second place, I have the Denver Broncos. And in first place, I have the Kansas City Chiefs.
All right. My AFC West predictions. Fourth place, Las Vegas Raiders. Third place, the Denver Broncos. Second place, the Los Angeles Chargers. And in first place, the Kings stay the Kings until they ain't the Kings no more. The Kansas City Chiefs in first place again. That is your AFC West breakdown. All right, Alexander. So last 20 seconds here, as always. I don't know if they've already heard me say this or not, but thank you for catching that. We had to get that in. Last 20 seconds. Did anybody stand out to you? Anything specific we talked about? What are you most excited for? It's totally yours. You can have even 30 seconds due to my mistakes throughout this. Thank y'all for bearing with us. Please like, please subscribe. Alexander, last 30 seconds on you and take us out of here, big dog.
I just appreciate y'all joining us and hope y'all enjoyed us talking about this division. And I hope when we talked about it, it got y'all as excited as we are to watch this division play each other. I promise you this, when they match up in division games between any of those top three, it will be on a screen by itself for me to watch because it's going to be entertaining football. And with that, Piglets, we are hogging off.